the Bucs versus the Eagles. And game has become a lot more interesting to end the season. The Bucs have been about, they're 9-8. They've been about that team all season, but the Eagles have lost 5 of their last 6. Are they real contenders, or do you think they're starting to fizzle out a little bit?
This matchup is all about the momentum, right? Tampa Bay does have home field advantage. As far as the stats go, Tampa Bay kind of has a below-average offense, scoring and yards per game wise. They do have a pretty decent passing offense, but they're only putting up 20.5 points per game, and they're only putting up about 315 yards per game. So that's 20th and 23rd in the league, respectively. On defense, however, they are pretty good on their scoring defense. They're only allowing 19 points a game, which is 7th, but they're allowing 340 yards per game. What that tells me is their red zone defense is elite. They're stopping people on long drives and making them settle for field goals than scoring touchdowns. So they definitely have the more well-rounded defense, even though the yardage is kind of concerning. It basically comes down to the Bucs have a pretty mediocre offense, but a solid defense, and the Eagles have an elite level offense with a terrible defense, right? They're scoring 25.5 points per game. They're putting 350 plus yards per game, but they're allowing 25 points per game and 350 yards per game, right? So whatever their offense does, their defense allows. And that's why teams like the Commanders, are able to hang with them. So it's very interesting because of how terrible that Philadelphia Eagles defense is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. The Eagles defense are ranked 30th in scoring points allowed, 31st in pass defense, which is second to last, and 10th in rushing defense. The Bucs are interesting because they have the 5th best rush defense, but the 29th best pass defense. So they're not a great passing defending team, but like you said, they definitely get stops when they need to, which is very important. And it's also worth mentioning, I mean, the Bucs have 32nd best rush offense, which is dead last.
Terrible.
But they have the 17th best passing offense in terms of yards. So that's basically how they score all of their points. And going against this Eagles secondary, I think Baker, because they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin still. I think Baker Mayfield may just be able to make something happen. I'm honestly, because both teams have bad pass defense, but I have no trust in the Eagles. They've lost 5 of their last 6. They lost to the Giants and the Cardinals to end their season. Plus, Jalen Hurts dislocated his finger last week, and A.J. Brown hurt his knee. I'm sure they're both going to play, but they're both hurt. And if they have to rely on their passing game against this Tampa Bay team, that could potentially affect that, even though Tampa Bay's 29th in pass defense, because Tampa Bay can stop the run. And, depending on how those guys are feeling, might not work out well for Philadelphia. So I'm going with Tampa Bay to beat the Eagles. I didn't think Tampa Bay was that great all year, but here I am having them winning a first-round playoff matchup.
Tampa Bay, now the scoring defense might be skewed because the division they played in was so terrible. So logically, the eye test, the quarterback, the overall roster construction, and even some of the statistical metrics tell me that Philadelphia should win this game. But I got to go with my gut. Tampa Bay wins by 3.
There we go.
There you go. Philly, even though they went through a gauntlet of a schedule towards the end of the year, they kind of showed their true colors. And they let teams like Tampa Bay hang around. And if you do that in a playoff atmosphere on the road, you might get got.
Yeah, I don't see this game being a blowout by any means. I think it will be close. But I've just lost so much faith in the Eagles like the last couple of weeks. You can't be losing, because there are teams that have peaked to end the season and teams that have fallen off. The Eagles are a team that's fallen off. You're right.
And Tampa Bay's the opposite side. They've won 5 of the last 6. So
Yeah, and we've seen teams like the Bills had to struggle and they bounced back. The 49ers had to struggle and they bounced back. But that was early in the year and they finished the year playing a lot better. The Eagles felt like they peaked early to middle of the season, and ever since then they have not looked like the same team, not even for one of these weeks.
yeah. So I'm just going to go with another gut pick here because, as far as the eye test goes and the overall roster construction, you should pick Philly and just call it a day. Go with the safe pick. Whatever, dude. My gut tells me Tampa Bay wins on a game-winning field goal or in a close game. They maybe come up with a big stop in the red zone type vibe. And they do have home field advantage, and that's nothing to kind of scoff at. So,
Yeah,
Tampa Bay, the underdog again for me.